All right, well, Taylor, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Chicago down here in Mississippi. I got a room full here of our entrepreneurship students at Velma Jackson High School, and we are recording this for our friends at Ridgeland High School and Germantown High School as well. And all the way from Chicago, but you have family from West Point, Mississippi, as you told me.
Yes. I was actually there not too long ago, a couple months ago. So like you said, when you reached out, I was like, absolutely, I can't wait.
That's awesome, and we have some serious anime manga fans here with us as well. So they got some questions for you, but just take us. You know, you're not much older than these kids, and just take us through you from the Chicago area, went to St. Xavier University, and now you are getting ready to start the Nito Cafe in Chicago, which is the first in the United States, and it just during Black History Month, it just says a lot for the first Manga Cafe to be headed up by a Black female. So take us through that journey and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I was friends with everyone. I got along with everyone, but I always felt like I was ahead of the game to a certain extent. I was always thinking about the future and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to basically be more involved with the community and do more. And I felt like a lot of my colleagues were more like, I just want to go party. I just want to do this. And my head was always thinking outside the box when I wanted to do more. So I was actually pre-med in college. I planned on going to medical school, which, as you can see, I'm not doing that right now. And then I made the switch to get my MBA. So I got my master's in business administration with a focus in management. I've worked in a couple different roles, like a project managing, operations management, worked my way up in a lot of jobs. And I am 25 years old. So like you said, I'm not that much older from your students, which is why I'm here to say that it's very possible to keep pushing and to do what you really want to do. I'm an anime fan as well since I was a child. And one day I was like, I want to do something that's for the community, for other people, all while integrating my love for management, business, and the community. And that's how I came up with Nito Cafe, which is going to be pretty much the first of its kind in the United States. So it's so exciting to be working on this journey and to be in this place.
So talk a little bit about the Nito Cafe. I know I've seen your video of the interview you did, but maybe and we actually had some questions about what exactly are they going to offer, what are they going to do, what does this all entail. So just explain to the layperson, even though we have some anime manga fans here, how does this work? How does it operate? How did you get the idea and things like that?
Yeah, so I'll start with the idea. I love showing friends of mine like Japan and just the culture. That's always a hobby of mine. Be like, let me show you this. Let me show you how exciting it is. And one day we were watching a video about an introvert's journey in Japan, and this person stopped at a manga cafe, and that's when it hit me. I was like, I've known about manga cafes my whole life, but is that really a thing here? How can I elevate that idea? So I did some research. There are manga cafes that do exist in the United States, but I decided to elevate the idea and do way more. Which I came up with Nito Cafe, which translates to the introvert cafe, essentially, which most people in this demographic that love anime and manga tend to be a little more introverted. What does Nito Cafe entail? So the idea is that we're actually going to have a full-fledged cafe restaurant right next door. And we're going to be doing pop-ups there. So it's going to be like a Harry Potter theme. We're going to do like a K-pop thing. We're going to do anime themes throughout that, various times of the year. All the cafe and beverages are going to be themed after anime, different things from pop culture like Lord of the Rings. So it's basically going to be a pop culture hub cafe restaurant. Now,
is it going to be a cosplay type thing or?
Yes, so we're just going to do every single pop culture theme you can think of. If it's Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, we're going to do all of that there.
I know Star Trek and Star Wars also have very big cosplay communities as well.
Exactly. And I think the biggest thing of Nito Cafe is even though we're taking that cookie cutter structure of a manga cafe, it's more than anime and manga. It's going to be one big hub that's inclusive to all things pop culture. So there's going to be aspects of Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings there. It's going to be one big, I guess you would say, nerd lore community hub, which is what I've been kind of calling a nerd lore community hub. So in the other space, which is going to be the main manga space, we're going to have a manga lounge. which is basically you'll be able to sit, read manga or comics. We're also going to have fiction books as well. So yeah, you'll have like your Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings books as well. We're going to be opening the space for creators that create comics to potentially put their comics there as well. So that's where that community aspect comes from. Letting other creators have a place, like a brick and mortar space for their things. We're going to be having private rooms. So typical of manga cafes in Japan, they have these little like 5x5, 5x6 little cubicle offices where you can sleep, work, study, do whatever you want. You can stay there all day pretty much if you want. We're going to be doing language lessons, Japanese, Korean, Mandarin. We're going to be doing drawing classes there. There's so many things. We're going to be doing events. So we're going to be doing panels from authors. We'll probably try to get guest speakers there. We're going to be hosting tournaments, video game tournaments, and we're going to be offering all these in person and virtual. So even if you're not in Chicago and you want to be a part of these events, if you want to take these classes, you can connect with the Chicago community and join these as well.
Wow. And I think, you know, it's all about, and we talk about in class, knowing your target market. And obviously in a place like Chicago, you have a huge demand for this. And you're right. It's amazing that this does not exist in this capacity in the United States yet. So, you know, we have a few people here that may have been to Chicago, but how is that market in Chicago going to be a good target market for this, for this company?
And like you said, when you come up with these ideas, it's all about your market, where it's going to work. Grateful enough, I live in Chicago, and Chicago is so centralized compared to other places. Like if you're from New York, you're coming here. If you're from Washington, you come here. It's so centralized. And Chicago is one of the biggest cities out there as well. So that works. But most of all, Chicago has some of the biggest Midwest conventions in the country that a lot of people come to. So it just made sense that with all that, like the centralization, with the conventions, and just the big community that they have here, that it makes sense to put it in Chicago, and people are excited. Like I tell people all the time, George Lucas wanted to put the Star Wars Museum right in Chicago. You know, so that right there, he knew that it was the best place to put it, even though it got put in California. But initially that was the plan. So I'm just grateful that Chicago is going to be the first place for it. And I hope in the future that we'll be able to expand it.
That's awesome. Now, and another thing we talked about in class is the pricing and the marketing. So, you know, we're hearing these ideas, we're hearing what the things you plan to do. How do you turn a profit on this stuff? Like, how are people charged? How are, you know, what are the rates on this type of stuff? Because, and obviously the rates are going to be different in Chicago than they would be down here in Mississippi. So, how does all that work?
That is a fact that there's a price difference compared to Chicago to the South. So there's different ways this is going to be profitable. And so you'll have the cafe restaurant, you know, that's going to have its own separate like pricing. I guess you can get like a bagel or sandwich or a Japanese street food that we'll be having there. And that's just going to range. The manga lounge is going to be a separate profitable thing. So to be in the manga lounge, we're actually going to charge you for the amount of time you're in the manga lounge. Okay. Mostly because I figured manga is online, it's digital. You can read it for free at any time. So how do you make money from that? You charge people for the experience of being with other people in the community, being in a space, and you charge them for that instead of the books itself.
I guess the easiest way to explain it would be like a gym membership.
Exactly. Okay. And then there's going to be the classes, obviously, that we're going to be making profit from, the events, the tournaments, like charging people to be a part of the tournament, do raffles, as well as we plan on doing cosplay balls, which would be not necessarily inside the space itself, but we would be getting venues to host big events like that under the name of Nito Cafe. Wow. So it's exciting because most manga cafes don't have that many outlets to make revenue. They usually just have the manga lounge, but we're creating it and we're ramping it up. So there's so many other outlets for it.
Now, you know, and one thing I hear when, you know, we've had business owners from across the country in this class, but one thing that I hear is that, you know, they want to do something. So how do you have any experience in the restaurant industry, or are you getting somebody else to maybe head that up for you, or is this something you're figuring out as you go?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with trying to start any business is that in your head, you should be aware that you can't do it alone. As soon as I came into this, I knew I couldn't do it alone. And I started using like resources from like SCORE Chicago to have mentors. I reached out to local restaurants in my community trying to get mentors. I've worked in the restaurant industry when I was younger, so I had a feel for like kind of how things ran and everything, but I'm still no expert. So I've reached out to culinary schools in Chicago, like Kendall College. And
I was just going to say Kendall College in Evanston, one of the best in the country.
Exactly. And I've been reaching out to like the local pastry students, the baker students, even some of the chefs saying, hey, when this ramps up, I'm going to need help. Are you in? So I think that's the biggest thing, is this is not trying to do it alone, because you don't know everything, which I don't, but I'm always willing to reach out to whoever it takes to get that mentorship, so I make sure this is done right.
That's incredible. Now, and before I get to some of these questions, how are you marketing yourself? I know you have a big presence on social media. Obviously, that's how I found you. But how are you marketing this as far as raising the funds and getting the word out of what you're planning on doing?
Yeah, so actually, good news. I'm sure you knew I had a GoFundMe. Yeah. As of last night, we stopped it because we're launching our new campaign today on Indiegogo, which is more business centered. So that will be launching probably in a couple hours, actually, and we'll be offering incentives. So what I want most people to understand is, when you're doing something so personalized with a niche such as anime, you have to put yourself out there.
Absolutely.
You have to, like, this isn't like a restaurant where it's like you can hide behind the scenes and just like have your cooks out there. This is something so personalized. And I realized that when I wanted to do this, that I have to put myself out there, because people need to build that trust and know that you're actually passionate about it and you're not just a corporation just trying to make money off of this idea.
And that would be with any niche market, not just with the anime cosplay community. Like, around here we have a big biker community, and they have some things, but they put themselves out there and they attract the biker community. That's a niche market.
And you have to put yourself out there. That's why it's important, most importantly, because I work for a university as well. And I tell the students, when you're going to put yourself out there, people can easily go back and track what you did in the past. Absolutely. And it's important, when you're putting yourself out there, you do it in a way that represents your brand. I've been invited to countless podcasts and interviews, and some of them I had to say no, because for the idea for my brand and what I want to do, it doesn't align. So sometimes you have to be willing to say, I can't, for the sake of me putting myself out there in my brand, because it's important to get investors, people that want to support you. And if they see you kind of align with things outside of that, you're not going to get the help that you need.
Yeah.
It's important to put yourself out there. Marketing, I trust myself with the community. And I think that's another thing. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. When I first started this idea, I reached out to influencers, people big in the anime community, and I just put myself out there. Some didn't respond, and that's okay. Some did, and that's the important part. And they spread the word, which means more than anything, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there.
Absolutely. Now, I got some great questions, and these are all entrepreneurship students and of all grades. This person is Corlin Murray, and she's a senior, and this is a great question to start out with. She said, with the constant changes in trends, are you afraid that manga may become less of a trend and your concept will become obsolete?
Love that question. The anime community, the manga community, is estimated to reach $78 billion next year.
Holy shit. You should have heard Jack if you just got in the class on that one.
So I don't think that's slowing down anytime soon, but that's why I didn't want to focus so much on anime and manga, but pop culture. Harry Potter has been over with years ago, so has Lord of the Rings, but their fans are diehard and they still talk about it to this day. So that's why it's important to be on top of the various many different types of things in pop culture. That's the whole idea of pop culture. It keeps changing and things pop up. That's why the idea of Nito Cafe is to be centered around pop culture. So as it's changing, I'm implementing those things into the cafe. So no, I'm not scared about trends or anything, because I'm going to be changing as the trends change as well.
Sorry, I got buzzed by the office there. This is Jarvis Owsley. He's a junior, and he asked, what type of research did you do before starting this venture?
So a lot of the research was first and foremost always being a lover of the Japanese culture and always doing my own offset research. I'm a big cultural buff as well, so I've always been doing like my research outside of my life. But a lot of it's like reaching out to other people. I've reached out to people in Japan that have businesses. I've reached out to bookstore owners, cafe owners. So a lot of it's just like I said, being willing to put yourself out there and ask for help. And I've been kind of just compiling a lot of it and seeing what works and what doesn't work, which is what has led us to this.
Wow. This is Rashawn Smith. He's in ninth grade, and he asked, is it overwhelming knowing you're the first person in the country to go on this journey?
Absolutely. And I'm going to be completely honest, it's hard. There are times where you doubt yourself, but that's just part of it. You know, when you're trying to do something this big, especially at my age with not having as much experience as the next person, you start doubting yourself, but it's even more fun because you know that it's such a great idea and people love it and they support it, and that pushes you to keep on going. So yeah, it's hard, not gonna lie, it's not easy, but you gotta be very passionate about something like this to really go for it with it and make it happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is Rodarius Williams. He's a junior, and he asked, what type of mentality and people skills are most required to maintain an anime and manga cafe?
Well, first and foremost, you need to be a creative, open-minded person. The anime community, manga community is so broad. You see so many different creators and artists, and they come from different backgrounds. You have to be open-minded, as well as you have to be a people person to a certain extent. A lot of this community is like meeting at conventions and talking and getting to know each other, sharing creative pieces. You just have to be a very open and creative person, willing to be open to people's different backgrounds, like their ideals. And most of all, you have to love it. I mean, you just have to love it. You can't go into something like this, especially not liking it, not caring for it.
Yeah, and then to be taken seriously, any niche community, they're going to have to see you're passionate about it, or it's destined to fail no matter what you're in. Now, this is Michael Williams, and he's a senior, and I knew this question was coming. He is a diehard anime fan, and he wants to know your top 10 favorite animes of all time.
Woo! All right, let's go. Wait, let me see. Do I have? I'm sure he's aware of this website called Crunchyroll, which is where everyone streams their anime from, if you pay for it. Yeah. So obviously Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen. What's another one? I'm thinking. I love Ouran Hostel Heist Club, Blood Plus, Death Note, Air Gear, Bleach, Naruto is a classic. And where do I want to end this?
And with? Naruto is a big one here at the school. We got a lot of kids into that.
Oh, that's where I started.
I said it wrong. Okay, I was just corrected that I mispronounced it. So I do apologize to all the Naruto fans out there.
Am I missing one? Let's see. How do I want to cap that off?
He said you're missing his favorite one.
Favorite one. Let's see. That's a tough one. What do I want to cap it off with? I like Blue Exorcist. That's probably not the one he's referring to. I love Blue Exorcist.
Oh, his face is priceless right now, but he was hoping for Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, that's a classic. That's like saying I got to do Inuyasha. Like, I can't.
The expressions in the room right now are priceless. They're loving that answer. But Tayler, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for joining us, especially changing your schedule on this last second, all the way from Chicago down here in Mississippi. And it's a really cool concept, great advice. But everybody here is a young Black student in the United States. You're not much older, and you've grown up, same era, same type of challenges. And some of these do want to be entrepreneurs. Some just wanted to be part-time entrepreneurs. Some are okay being employees, but you can still be an entrepreneur as an employee. And be very successful. So with the obstacles that young Black kids face in the country now, no matter where they are, how can they overcome those to become as successful as you've become?
A lot of it is, I know where I want to be in life and I know what I want it. You have to have that mentality to be more than what people label you as. I got tired of people assuming that I had to be oppressed because I was a Black woman and I could do so much more. And that's what drives me every day to keep going and pushing to all these heights, is that I'm more than a Black woman. I am a Black woman, but I can do so much more than what people think I can. And you have to push yourself and you have to want it. But like you said, I'm here right now. I'm not too much older than your students, and anyone can do it. You just have to really believe in yourself and push for it.
That's awesome. And I'm a huge Cubs fan, so I want to get up to Wrigley Field here soon. And I would love to see what all you're doing up there. If I had a chance, that'd be amazing. It's just a matter with COVID shutting everything down, it kind of put a monkey wrench in my plans, because one of my best friends works at DePaul. So I like to get up there and see him and see the Cubs play. So hopefully I can make that happen soon. And I would love to see this in person. I just think it's an amazing concept and be super cool. And I'm a anime novice, but I just think it's a very cool community and very cool what you're doing. And I applaud your courage, and you're just such a great example for these young people and the young business owners in this country. I just think it's really cool. And we thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
And thank you, but most of all, do not give up on your dreams. Do not give up. No matter what people say, no matter what happens, do not give up. Because someone will come and take that idea, and then you're left with nothing. Do not give up on your dreams.
Common tale right there. You're absolutely right. Great advice. So again, Tayler Tillman, thank you so much. And the Nito Cafe, what's the Instagram?
It is Nito.cafe.
Yeah, Nito.cafe. They got some cool stuff they've already posted, looking at the plans, really cool. And you can see how to contribute and be a part of it. And eventually the virtual stuff you're going to offer. I think that'd be you can't get to Chicago, you can still be a part of the Nito Cafe.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you. So it's Nito. They're asking how it's spelled. Nito.
Yep, Nito.
Nito.cafe. And again, thank you so much, Tayler, for joining us. And I will definitely be talking to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Have a wonderful day.
You're very welcome.